So the first step in that is really understanding that it is just wiring, that there isn't any truth to whatever limiting beliefs you have about what you're capable of or what's possible for you, or who you can be or what you can accomplish. That any thoughts that you have about limitation are just wiring. They're not true, and they can be changed. So then the question becomes, well,
hey community, welcome to Speak Up, Light Up. Here you can meet industry celebrities, successful entrepreneurs, thought leaders from all over the world who are sharing their transformational stories, speaking up the truth about their path to success, and lighting up with some tools and strategies for self-discovery and creating your own reality. I'm your host, Valerie Rossetto. Today I want to speak up about practical tools when it comes to creating your own reality. Lots of people are talking about you need to change this, you need to change that. For me, it's all about taking action and keeping focus, especially when you know precisely what to do, what to optimize, what to change. Developing this mindset helped me to achieve success in sport and become a world champion. The same in business. You want more income, you want more impact, you want your clients to have greater results. Actions. What do you need to do to make this happen? If you might be struggling with achieving goals that you wish for, feeling stuck, or having troubles to break through and get what you really want, this episode is for you. You are going to dive deeper in scientifically proven method that will allow you to rewire your brain using a neuroplasticity in order to be able to shape your own reality. I will share with you some highlights from the interview I conducted with one of the experts featured in the book and movie The Secret, as well as in the movie How Thoughts Become Things that I conducted for Independent Women Summit. And at the end, you will also get an access to a transformational method that will allow you to achieve the results, whether you're professional or private life. Stay till the end. You're ready? Let's go. You might be aware that the reality we see and experience is different for every single individual. Depending on belief system, cognitions or thoughts, and the response system to particular events and life situations determines what kind of experience you're going to have in this life. And having a particular life experience most of the time, if not all the time, proves the belief system. And this becomes a cycle. Let's take an example. For example, you believe that making money is hard. And when opportunity comes, you feel like, oh my gosh, this is so hard to make money. I have to work more to earn more. Or I don't deserve this money. I don't have enough experience and skills. And all these thoughts based on your belief system is starting to spin in your mind. As a result, it creates particular emotions. You might feel anxiety, you might feel fear, you might feel like, oh my gosh, I need to study more, I need to have more experience to grab this opportunity. As a result, it impacts your actions. For example, either you don't take action and just let this opportunity go, and it might be that it was like opportunity that comes once in a lifetime. Or maybe you take this opportunity, but what is happening? Because of the self-sabotage, some sort of situations are happening, or maybe you lost your confidence and you're not able to give yourself like fully show and light up with your skills and with your abilities. As a result, you don't really get what initially was promised. And again, your initial belief system that to earn money is hard is proved. The same happening in other areas of your life. And even though there are so many examples that prove that things can work differently, your consciousness and subconsciousness continue to follow the same wired scenario. And there are many tools and strategies that can help you to rewire your brain, build new neurons connections that will allow you to become a person who can create a different reality, achieve any goals, and finally live completely different reality. I'm going to share with you now the highlights from the interview with the law of attraction expert, author, speaker, featured expert in the movies The Secret and How Thoughts Become Things, Bob Doyle. Enjoy. Can you share with us your contribution to this conversation, to this project?
Sure. So as you mentioned, I was a part of the film The Secret, which was really about the law of attraction, and it kind of focused on the energy and sort of the metaphysical. At least that's what a lot of people took from it. So it was perceived by some as sort of new age or woo-woo or whatever, and it wasn't as accessible. What I like, and I've been teaching that for almost 20 years, but recently I've been teaching more around the brain and neuroplasticity and how our brain is what's really interpreting our experience of reality anyway, so that if we want to experience reality differently, we have to then start to make new meaning out of the input we're getting in our everyday life. And that happens at the brain level. So how thoughts become things is it's kind of an updated conversation. There's not as much conversation around energy and that kind of thing. It is more about the brain. It is more about the science of what actually happens when you have a thought and how does it end up being a thing. So, and it just, the timing of this movie was right the same timing as when I kind of really started changing my message to that. So what I bring to the movie is really a conversation around rewiring and that focusing on literally changing the shape and structure of our brain is going to be key in any kind of transformation.
Yeah, I find it's the kind of basics, like going back to basics since the movie Secret were released. And by the way, it has been about 13 years since the Secret came out. And besides this, since more than 2 decades, you are helping people to realign with themselves and create their own reality. So what actually motivates you to do this job, and how did you start to work with the law of attraction?
Yeah, this whole career, if you will, if you want to call my work in this a career, was completely accidental. It was not something that I had aspired to do. I always wanted to be in broadcasting and be on the radio and use my voice and be creative. And that's, and I still do that today, but I'm best known for the secret work, and things law of attraction. But, I discovered, or I learned about the law of attraction and manifesting principles in my own search for a career that I would love, because I did pursue broadcasting and I did it for about 7 years. And I didn't really find the creative freedom that I wanted. So it was like, I felt kind of disillusioned because my whole life I'd wanted that. So that's when I started kind of jumping around from career to career and trying different things, trying to start my own businesses. And because I wasn't really getting results with anything, that's when I started looking down sort of the more metaphysical path and learning about visualization and meditation, and then eventually the quantum physics of our thought. And that's when the lights came on around what the law of attraction was really about, and also why I was getting the results in my life that I was. So once I had those distinctions, I was just excited about it, and I just started sharing it because I already knew how to do, create programs online, because I tried other things, some with, moderate levels of success, but I was very excited about packaging up this information in a way that people could understand who were searching for it like I was. So this was all before The Secret, right? This was 3 years before The Secret, and there wasn't a lot of information about it. So I was very passionate and excited about teaching it. And so I'd been doing that for a few years. Then that's when the producers of The Secret found my work, included me in the film, and then things just, got crazy.
Yeah, and by the way, you have an amazing voice.
Thank you very much. That's nice of you to say.
Yeah, so I know that like people were reading the book or watching the movie or learned about these principles from any other sources, but how it come that some people get incredible results, they are shifting their way of thinking, transforming lives, and some people don't. They basically learn the same tool, but how it comes that some succeed and some people fail.
Yes. And that's the whole key. The same information came to everybody, right? Everybody was the secret, for example, how thoughts become things. And it's all the same exact information. How we process it is different from person to person. And that's all based on our wiring, right? We've learned to make meaning out of things. We've learned to say, this is true, this is false, this is hard, this is easy. You know, I'm capable of this, I'm not capable of this. We learned all that through our environment, but we weren't being conscious of it. We were just taking it all in as truth. We got all this wiring in our brain, and that's how we see reality. But everybody has a different past. Everybody has a whole different set and collection of belief systems that have gone into their wiring. So two people can look at the exact same thing, but make completely different meaning out of it. And one person will think this person's crazy for not seeing the truth, and the other person will think the same thing, and nobody's right. It's all interpretation. It's all about meaning. So the whole point of my work and anybody's in this is we want to make sure that you're wiring yourself as someone that you truly want to be. You know, so the reason that people have varying results is we all have different wiring, and we all will commit to different levels. We'll all be triggered and stopped by different things. And a lot of times we try to go through this process on our own, which is fine. And we've been taught, hey, you can do this by yourself. But the problem with that is that we're up against our wiring every step of the way. So when the moment we get stopped or it gets hard, if we don't have support from somebody who's in this conversation and can reframe things for you and start the rewiring process, if we don't do that, if we don't have that, of course, we're going to go back to the other way, the old way. We're going to rationalize not taking the action. Some people that will happen for, some people that won't. And that's why people get different results with the exact same information and opportunity to make it work.
But then how to start this process of rewiring and be sure that we will achieve the results that we want?
So the first step in that is really understanding that it is just wiring, that there isn't any truth to whatever limiting beliefs you have about what you're capable of or what's possible for you or who you can be or what you can accomplish. That any thoughts that you have about limitation are just wiring. They're not true, and they can be changed. So then the question becomes, well, how do you change? How do you make that change? Well, the first thing you have to do is decide, who am I going to be that's different than who I am now? Because who I'm being now has brought me all of this, whatever this is, right? So if I want something different in my life, if I want different results, and if I want to maintain them, then I have to be consistently a different person, a person who acts in alignment with having these things, right? So we have to define who that is that we want to be. And it can be anything. People spend decades trying to find themselves. Who are they? Who are they? They get to decide. That's the beauty of how we're built. So just decide who you want to be, and you can use who you've been being as a base, or you can start all over, you know, but if you're going to determine what you want in your life at all, whether it's the relationship or whether it's the money, whatever physical, you want to be building that vision from being the person that you want to be, not the person that's limited, not the person that doesn't feel deserving or can rationalize not taking action. That person isn't going to have the same vision as a person who is empowered, right, and knows it's going to happen. So you have to first become that. That's the very first step, and hardly anybody does it. They all go straight for, what do I want? And it's generally about how can I use the law of attraction to solve these problems I have? So they're just spinning the fact that they have a problem, and that's what they're sending out there.
Well, thank you for explaining this in a very simple way, like really understandable. So I think with the next question, I go a little bit deeper in the spiritual side, probably.
Okay.
The law of attraction and the law of abundance state that you basically can build the reality that you wish, basically the life that you are dreaming about. But what it has to do with the, let's say, destiny or the soul that chose specific path, because there are a lot of spiritual teachings and even cultures that possess another way of thinking or beliefs, let's say. So is it possible to shift, or how to shift this kind of consciousness and thinking of entire nation?
It's going to have to be, look, the whole nation's going to have to want to do it. The whole collective is made up of, is all made up of these individual brains. It all happens here, and everybody's individual experience happens in here. Yes, there's the collective. Yes, we are connected. There's no question, right? I mean, you and I can have this conversation. Not everybody can, but in terms of our living day to day and how we are interpreting our belief systems about that, or our lack of belief, all of it, it's happening in here. So the same, everything I've said still applies. You have to decide what part of this that I'm being, whether it's cultural or environmental, is not serving me. What is keeping me from my potential? So who am I being in that I would like to change? Define it, start trying on being it. The rewiring will take place. And then but still all the invisible stuff will still happen. You'll be connected differently because you'll be vibrating differently. Your collective consciousness will shift from where it is to a different one or whatever. But the everyday person doesn't need to know any of that stuff, right? That's cool to know about that. But it can also, I've also seen that this conversation, this piece of it, which I embrace, confuses a lot of people who want to believe it, but then it all becomes they can't grab onto anything. And that's why I've been saying, yes, all of that. But when a person is struggling with getting results with this, and they're trying to understand all the ins and outs and the vibration and all that, I'm like, you don't need to. You don't need to. The universe is not responding to your understanding of the principles. It's responding to what you're putting out there consistently. And your wiring determines that. So it's always going to come, regardless of what's going on spiritually, it's still going to come down to, if you want your experience of reality to be different, the wiring that is interpreting it has to change.
I hoped this part of the interview added some value, some more broader understanding of specific things. Maybe you already heard about this. Comment below if this resonates with you, if you are working on it or have been working already on it, on brain rewiring, or maybe you have completely different opinion, as it's also fine, because as you know, we are all functioning based on our wired brain. Here I want to give a very brief sum up of everything that was discussed in this interview. First of all, we give interpretation to the reality based on our wiring that was formed maybe through the past traumatic experience, maybe the cultural belief system, some stereotypes, the environment, and getting access to any information, including this podcast and show. Basically, you are building up your own interpretation of any information based on this wiring. That's why different people getting access to completely same information get completely different results. Some people, after reading the book or watching a particular video or attending a seminar, already changing their life. And some people are still staying stuck. It all depends on wiring. Second, accepting the fact that your brain is wired and starting to replace the negative thoughts with the supporting ones persistently, not once in a while when I feel like, but working on it constantly and persistently will start to bring different results and changes in life. Importantly, the results you have in life and the reality in general was created by the version of you who is now, whether you like it or not. But the beauty of it, if you want to change something in your life or some parts of it, you have a power to become a person who is in alignment with your new vision and is able to create this completely new and different reality. Acting and making choices not from the point of being limited, but from the point of being empowered, and building this alignment between a new vision of your reality and becoming a person who is living and experiencing it is a key. And understanding it gives you freedom to live the way you want. Once again, there are a lot of methods and tools how to start tracking your thoughts and replace them, as well as change the behavioral patterns that obviously lead to completely different results and the life experience. One of such tools is Neurographics that was created and developed by Professor of Psychology Piskarev. Nowadays, this method is widely used. The main approach is that through creating new neuron connections, you stimulate your brain to start being more creative, having some insights, creating solutions for a particular issue, and finding the ways how you can resolve any particular problem, and even change your whole state, how you feel. So basically, using this method, you can also start rewiring your brain. As you understood, everything starts from yourself. Understanding who you are, what you truly want, not your friends, not your family, not society, but what do you want? And start taking actions. What do I need to do to make things happen? If you are an action taker and you're ready to change something in life, you have massive goals, or you have dreams to come true, if you really feel like this life is so much more than for those specific scenarios, I invite you to my workshop, where we will be diving deeper in our subconscious mind and even unconscious mind, unlocking some programs that are keeping us stuck and not really allowing us to break through and move forward, as well as realigning with who we truly are, to understand if the goals we set, maybe for the next year, maybe in general in life, are really belongs to us. Because sometimes people are wondering, like, okay, I know how to make things happen, I do take actions, but things are not happening the way I wish. Well, maybe these programs or goals, they are not really yours. So really understanding what you truly want and using the scientifically proven method of neurographics to find the solutions, find the ways basically to create new neuron systems in your mind will allow you to achieve specific results faster in a more focused way. If you want to be part of this workshop, check the link in the description box below, and I hope to see you at the workshop, definitely in the next episode. And don't forget, it's time to speak up, light up, and create your own reality.